Hi, in this video we're going to look at one of the 4 transformations, and in particular we're going to look at enlargements. I will do other videos on reflections and rotations and translations, but first of all we're going to look at this one. This is a C grade topic, so it could appear on both higher and foundation. As ever, if you want to get more information or you've got any questions for me, then you can ask me on Twitter at Mr_G_Walton or at Tupton Maths. Okay, so in this video, what is it we're specifically going to look at doing? Well, we're going to draw an enlargement if we've been given a particular scale factor. This is one of the key words to do with this topic, so scale factor, and a centre of enlargement. That might be written C-O-E, centre of enlargement. And that's going to be for positive values, if you're a foundation student, or if you're doing the higher paper, then you could also get negative or fractional values as well for your scale factor. Okay, so your scale factor, if your foundation, is always going to be positive. If you're a higher student, then it could be positive, negative, or fractional, or a combination of them. We're also going to have to be able to describe an enlargement using the right terminology. That's if one's already been drawn for you and you have to say what's happened. Okay, let's have a look. In this first example, we can see that we've got a shape drawn on a grid. There isn't an actual question here. I'm going to tell you what it is that we're going to do. We're going to enlarge this with a scale factor of 2. And we're going to do it from the point -3 minus 2. So this is my centre of enlargement. So we're going to do it scale factor 2 from -3 minus 2. The first thing we're going to do is find -3 minus 2. So remember, that's along the corridor, and in this case down the stairs. Here, this cross here, is where I'm going to be enlarging from, and 2. And we're going to do it a scale factor of 2. Okay, let's have a go then. What we're actually going to do, and I'm just going to choose a slightly darker colour pen for this. What we're going to do is we're going to look at each point, each corner of my shape in turn and decide what's happening. Now, a scale factor of 2 means it's going to get twice as big. So if you were really stuck and you weren't sure what else to do, then you could draw this shape twice as big somewhere on this grid and hopefully pick up a mark. However, to do it properly, not only does it have to be twice as big, but it also has to be in exactly the right place, and that's what the centre of enlargement is going to tell us. Okay, I often tell my students that this is like a tiny little man standing here with a really powerful torch. If he shines this on this shape, we're going to get a shadow of this shape somewhere up here. Okay, now the shadow is our new shape, so I want you to kind of bear that in mind. Okay, how are we going to do it? Well, let's take the corner A first. A was 2 squares along and 1 up. Okay, so when we're counting these, don't try and do it diagonally, but count where it is from the centre of enlargement and do it in terms of a cross and up. So it was 2 and 1 up. My scale factor is 2. So instead of being 2 along and 1 up, it's going to be 4 along, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 up. A is now going to be here. So I'm going to mark it on, and I'm going to call it A dash. Let's do the same with B. Now, at this point, you might be fairly happy about where B is, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go 1, 2 along, 1, 2, 3 up. Times in each one by 2. So instead of 2 along, I'm now 4 along. And instead of 3 up, I'm now going to be 6 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's now here at 1, 4. So let's mark that on. And 1, 4. It's here. And this is B dash. So we've got this point down here, A dash, and we've got B dash. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do the same for C. And again, we're starting at our centre of enlargement. C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So now it would be 10 along and 10 up. Again, starting at my centre of enlargement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's going to be up here somewhere, right at the top of my screen. So it's going to be up here. And this is C dash. Now the final point, you can carry on doing this. There's nothing wrong with carrying on doing it. Or you might want to draw in what you've got so far and just spot where the other point is going to be. I think at this point I would think, well, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, had a length of 4. This is also going to have a length of 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be here at 7, 4. Okay, so I've used a little bit of logic to get it to that point, but I'm just going to check. So D was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along, 1, 2, 3 up. It's now going to be 10 along and 6 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good, I got it in the right place. Okay, so let's join these up. Oops, there we go. D dash. Okay, so what we've done is we've started at a centre of enlargement. We've made our new shape twice as big. We've used the correct terminology to label the new corners, the new vertices of my shape. Not only is it twice as big, but it's also twice as big in the right place. And how can I check? Well, just as a final check, what you can do is you can use a straight line from here, and you should be able to see that you're almost like perspective lines. Go something like this through each corner. Okay, and we can see that these all match up nice and perfectly with a straight line back to this centre of enlargement down here. Perfect. Let's move on. Let's have a look at another example. Okay, in this example we've got triangle A and triangle B. I would like to know if you can describe what transformation has happened to get from triangle A to triangle B. So we know it's an enlargement, we can see it's an enlargement. What we need to do is, in an exam, we would have to say it's an enlargement. So the transformation that's happened is an enlargement. We need to work out what scale factor it is and what its centre of enlargement is. So we need to work these things out. Let's first of all look at the scale factor. Let's look at this triangle here. It was 1 square in terms of its width. Its base was 1 square. Its base now is 3 squares. So how did we get from 1 to 3? Well, it was multiplied by 3. And let's use that logic just to check the height. It was 2. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, multiplied by 3. It's got a scale factor of 3. So in terms of describing this, we can say it's an enlargement of scale factor 3. Now where's its centre of enlargement? And this is where you use the ray lines, just like we were looking at before. Let's just join up this line down here, and then a straight line going from this point through here all the way down, and where these two lines cross is our centre of enlargement. This one crosses at 0, 1. So it has a centre of enlargement 0, 1. Okay, so in order to get full marks, you need to be able to say, in terms of the transformation, that it's an enlargement, what its scale factor is, and what the centre of enlargement is. Let's do a similar thing. Now this is only for higher pupils, so if you're a foundation candidate, you don't need to worry about this one. We can, again, I want to know what the single transformation is that maps shape A, here, onto shape B. Well, it looks like it's shrunk. So any kind of growth or shrinking we can describe as an enlargement, and the fact that you're watching a video about enlargements really shouldn't be a massive surprise that that's what this one is. Okay, so the first transformation that's happened, or the transformation that's happened, is an enlargement. we need to describe its scale factor, and we need to show what its centre of enlargement is. Okay, let's look at the scale factor first then. Remember, this time we're going from A to B. Okay, so it's shrunk down. It was 4, it's now got a width of 2. It's gone from 4 to 2. What's happened? Well, it's been multiplied by a half. It's half as big. So this has got a scale factor of a half. And we still describe it as an enlargement, even though this shape has got smaller. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's the way that we do it. We say it's half as big. Okay, so we're still saying it's an enlargement. It's just got a scale factor of a half. Okay, let's see if we can work out what the centre of enlargement is. I'm just going to rub these lines out just to kind of make it a little bit clearer. Okay, so with nice straight lines, I want you to match up the corners. So we're going to go from here straight through. We're going to go from this one, something like this. Now again, in an exam, yours will be much neater than mine, using actual straight lines, but this looks like it's going to cross here at the origin. I know that mine don't look perfect, but actually I'm fairly convinced that that's where it's going to be. So it's got a centre of enlargement, and you can use the word origin, or you can say 0, 0. Okay, let's do one more example in this video, and then there's a chance for you to have a go by yourself. In this final example, we can't quite see the triangle very well on here, but I'll just draw it back in for you. We've got a triangle that's here, and I'm going to want to do a negative scale factor here. Now it does say right at the very bottom, enlarge the triangle by a scale factor of, can't quite see, let's have a look, enlarge the triangle, scale factor of -2 from the centre. Okay, so scale factor -2 from the origin. Okay, so we've also got a point where we're going to do it, which is here. Right, so this time, negative scale factors do the opposite thing. So I want you to think negative, we're going to do the opposite. And you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm still going to count squares, but I'm going to do something slightly different this time. So let's get my pen. Let's see. So let's describe this first corner. Oops. Let's describe this first corner in terms of what is going on. Well, it was 1 along and 1 up. It was in fact 1 to the right and 1 up. Now, scale factor 2 would have meant 2 to the right and 2 up, but it's -2. So we're going to have to go 2 to the left and 2 down. We're actually doing the opposite thing. Okay, so we're going to call this one A, and I'll call this A dashed. Okay, let's just finish labelling this triangle. I'll call it A, B and C. You'll be able to see what happens a little bit clearer then. Okay, let's look at B. B was 1, 2, 3 along to the right and 1 up. We're doing scale factor -2, so we're going to go in the opposite direction and twice as far. So instead of 3 along and 1 up, we're going to go 6 this way and 2 down. It's here. This is now B dash. Let's finish it off with C. C was 3 along and 2 up. So 3 to the right, 2 up, 6 to the left, 4 down. So the final point is going to be here. This is going to be C dashed, and my triangle has been enlarged like this. This has got a negative scale factor, and again you could use your ray lines just to show how they go through the points like this, and C would go through like this, and B like this. Okay, a little bit like a pinhole camera if you've done science and you understand what that means. Okay, so this is, again, it's a higher topic. Negative, we do the opposite things. So keep counting squares and just do the opposite as to what you counted. Okay, here's 2 questions. In the question on the left hand side, what I would like you to do is a enlargement, and I would like you to do a scale factor of 3, and I want you to do it from this point here. So scale factor 3 from that point. On the question on the right hand side, it says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So I want you to see if you can work out what's happened and where it goes. So at this point, pause the video. If you're having a go at the question on the left, this is a foundation and higher question. The one on the right is higher only. On the one on the left, you'll have to draw it out on some squared paper in your books, obviously. So you might need to pause it for a while, but come back, I'll show you what the answers are. Okay, let's have a go then. So if I was doing the question on the left, labelling it, just taking your time, doing corner by corner. The first one I'm going to look at is this one. It was 2 up. Scale factor 3 means now it's going to be 6 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My new corner is going to be here. The next one was 1, 2, 3, 4 up. It's now going to be 12 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right at the top. Okay. Now, the next corner would have been 1 along and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it's going to be up here somewhere. Okay, so I'm drawing it in as I go. The next point would have been down here. Then, this funny point, the last point, is 2 along and 1 up. So now it's going to be 6 along and 3 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. It's here. Okay, so it's really important that you get it in exactly the right place. And I'm just going to check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Brilliant. And now I can join it up like that. Okay, so that's a good way of getting full marks. I've got it in exactly the right place and it's 3 times as big. This second question says describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. So you need to write down the following things. You need to have written enlargement. We need a scale factor and we need a centre of enlargement. Okay. Let's have a look then. So, enlargement, fine. Scale factor. Well, it was 1 along the base. It's now 2. And we can see it's flipped upside down as well. So, we're going to say that the scale factor is -2. Let's see if we can work out the centre of enlargement. So, let's draw lines like this. Okay, so it's definitely going to be along this line somewhere. Just for an extra little bit of point, this is the line y equals 1. It's also, let's see if we can draw a straight line going up from this point all the way up here. That's looking good. And finally, is there any other points that we can draw in? No, there isn't. So it looks to me like it's going to be here at 0, 1. Centre of enlargement, 0, 1. Fantastic. So if you got both of those right, well done. You're well on track to understanding this topic. Finally, let's just have some revision notes. Okay, so here's the notes that you can take for enlargement. So an enlargement is one of the 4 transformations you need to know at GCSE. The others being rotations, reflections and translations. You've got to enlarge from a given point and by a given scale factor. So you need your centre of enlargement, you need your scale factor. Your enlargement could end up getting smaller, which I know sounds weird, but it can happen, and that's if it's a fractional scale factor. An enlargement could turn upside down if it's a negative scale factor. And in fact, these two could be combined. You could have a negative and fractional in one, so don't be surprised if something like that pops up. Okay, as ever, good luck with your exams. Hopefully they were going well. Keep watching the videos, subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates, and see you soon. Bye.